we know a lot about Khamzat. We know that, first of all, we know that style, that seek and destroy, throw yourself into the fire style.
And maybe you're cutting the weight easy. It depends on the person, I guess. Because some people are cutting the weight easy.
Really?
Yeah, some people are being, there's people that cut a get load of weight, but some people are being pretty smart about it. I think 85 to 70 is really good. Khamzat,
he's big.
He's fucking huge.
I remember we saw him backstage in Florida, I think.
Nobody's finished Izzy like that in a fight. Ever. Whenever you have these exchanges, you see these winging punches come Izzy's way, anything can happen. And when you're tired and you're not moving back as good as you were in the second, you got to give it up to that.
It's hard for me to give it up to him. I don't know why.
UFC 319 is fast approaching, and Joe Rogan has finally broken down the fight between Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus du Plessis for the middleweight title. Joe Rogan expressed his admiration for Khamzat Chimaev, saying his control on the ground feels like something out of a different sport entirely. He explained that when it comes to grappling, Chimaev doesn't just outwork opponents as he overwhelms them in ways no one else in the division can match.
The Khamzat's skill is so high level, it makes me wonder. It appears that in terms of like the grappling that he possesses seems magnitudes greater than anybody else in his division.
Joe Rogan shared his thoughts on how Khamzat Chimaev's abilities stack up, saying they're so advanced that it raises real questions about how someone like Dricus du Plessis would deal with them. While he gave credit to du Plessis for being powerful, tough, and well-rounded in both wrestling and jiu-jitsu, Rogan admitted he wasn't sure if that would be enough to keep up with Chimaev's pressure-heavy style.
Like, this was just a overwhelming victory. Khamzat just charged in, dove in, got him down, and mauled him until he broke his face.
Do you think it's different with du Plessis? Because he can wrestle.
He can wrestle. He's got very good jiu-jitsu. He hits fucking hard, and he's a big, durable dude. But I don't know if he's going to be able to wrestle with that guy. Like, I don't know, man. The Khamzat's skill is so high level, it makes me wonder.
Joe Rogan called Dricus du Plessis scary and pointed to his size as a major advantage, especially after a recent win where stamina and breathing played a big role. He said du Plessis uses a strange stutter step style that makes him hard to read. Rogan highlighted that this awkward movement is actually very technical and tough to copy, giving him a real advantage.
Dricus is scary. That's a guy who's so big for 85.
The way he looked against I didn't give him a chance against Robert Whitaker, and boy was I wrong.
After he got a deviated surgery, which
I
think it's a big factor.
Yeah,
being able to breathe out your nose.
If you can't breathe, you can't fight.
Yeah, but it's Dricus looks awkward when he fight. He moves different, but that movement and that awkwardness makes him difficult to time. It's like his timing is off.
Yeah,
and if you don't have anybody that can imitate that kind of stutter step motion that he does, it's deceptively technical. Deceptively.
On the other hand, Caio Borralho said he was leaning toward Khamzat Chimaev, but admitted he's always been wrong when betting against Dricus du Plessis. He joked that Dricus keeps shutting his mouth every time. Caio predicted the fight could end quickly, similar to Khamzat's bout with Whitaker, and estimated a 60% chance that Khamzat finishes it early. However, he gave Dricus a 40% chance to weather the early storm with his size and strength, which could shift the momentum in his favor in the later rounds.
What do you think it's gonna take for DDP to stuff the takedowns in here and still?
Bro, this is crazy because I always bet against DDP and he always shut in my mouth. But I'm feeling like this can be a fight as fast as the fight with Khamzat and Whitaker. Like finishing the first round or beginning of the second round, you know. 60% of me say that Khamzat will finish this fight like real fast, but 40% says that Dricus, with his size and height and his weight, he's a big guy for the division. I think he can stop the takedowns or even survive the first two rounds, and then the fight gets better for him. So I'm 60-40 on these two options.
Earlier in another interview, Caio Borralho picked Khamzat Chimaev to win, saying most fighters prepare the wrong way by training with standard wrestlers. He explained that Chimaev's MMA-style grappling is different and harder to deal with, and stopping him requires requires reading his full game, not just defending takedowns.
Khamzat fighting against Dricus. Who do you think he wins?
I think Khamzat's gonna win because I don't see anyone preparing properly for Khamzat. They are bringing wrestlers to train them to defend takedowns and all that, but Khamzat doesn't do the normal stuff. Khamzat doesn't do wrestling. He does MMA wrestling. It's different. You need to understand his system, what he wants next. You need to understand this first, and then you start to prepare for him. And I think Khamzat's gonna win for me.
Furthermore, former UFC champion Demetrius Johnson offered his take on a high-stakes middleweight showdown, emphasizing the importance of controlling the tempo. He noted that if Dricus du Plessis keeps the fight standing and avoids the ground game, his unorthodox striking could give him an edge. Johnson also mentioned that Chimaev has struggled to maintain his pace in longer fights, which might allow du Plessis to take advantage late. Still, he cautioned that Chimaev's wrestling threat won't fade and that du Plessis must stay disciplined throughout.
If Chimaev cannot get him down,
he will. But yeah.
But let's say he does get him down.
Yep.
And he doesn't finish him, right? I think he's spent. Because you look at his fights. You look when he fought Gilbert Burns, when he fought Kamaru Usman. He had Kamaru Usman fully mounted, back hooks and everything, right?
Yep.
Working for the choke, pounding him, could not finish him,
Couldn't get him.
The rest of the time, he could not find it was shadow boxer. Granted, he might be sick or whatever, but if he cannot figure it out within those first 2 rounds or the first round he gets him down, I think DDP is going to do what he does best. He's going to be awkward. He's going to be, do the kicks. And I think DDP is going to beat him.
Yeah,
like
I think
Khamzat Chimaev is more athletic, more traditional, but I think that awkwardness of the old what did he say? The lanky man style. I think DDP is gonna put in the bag.
In a conversation with John Anik, Kenny Florian emphasized how explosive Khamzat Chimaev is right out of the gate. He brought up a chat with Brian Petrie, who argued that Chimaev could be the most dangerous first-round fighter the UFC has ever seen, a take Florian found hard to argue with. He referenced Chimaev's quick domination of Robert Whittaker, explaining that whether it's through grappling or striking, Chimaev has the ability to end things before the fight even settles in.
Brian Petrie and I were talking about this, but Petrie was saying he's probably the best first-round fighter in UFC history, and he could be right. And people forget, we just saw him, crush the jaw of Robert Whittaker. Yes, he can do that as well. So he can take you down and maul you. He can submit you. And he can knock your ass out on the feet as well. And he can do it in a blink of an eye. That's how explosive Khamzat Chimaev is.
Kenny Florian further shared his interest in this showdown, saying he's eager to see what unfolds if one fighter can weather the early pressure from his opponent. He described the early rounds as chaotic when that pressure fighter is involved, but said the real questions begin if the bout stretches into the later rounds. Florian added that a gritty decision victory would reveal more about that fighter's overall skill set than a fast finish. What keeps him intrigued is the unpredictable nature of how their styles might clash over time.
If DDP is able to survive the early rounds against that whirlwind juggernaut in Khamzat Chimaev, that's when the fight gets really interesting to me. And I said this, and I've been thinking about this a lot. If Khamzat is able to win the fight by decision, that would be more impressive to me than in an early finish against DDP. But dude, that fight can go so many different ways. That's what makes this sport and the UFC so intriguing. I can't wait for that damn.
Ikram Aliskerov predicted a tough back-and-forth battle, but ultimately favored Chimaev to get the win. He pointed to Chimaev's balanced skill set, strong both on the feet and on the ground, as the deciding factor. While he gave credit to du Plessis for being durable, awkward, and capable of throwing opponents off rhythm, Aliskerov still believed Chimaev's ability to adjust mid-fight would carry him through to victory.
Chimaev, I think, is good, very good. You see this last fight was Whittaker, and not last, all his fight, he have everything. He have good wrestling, grappling, and striking. I think, but he's a not simple guy, du Plessis, All the fight, all people think about this fight he lose, this fight but he not lose, he's win anybody, brother. It's good fight, but I think, I hope Chimaev win.
Meanwhile, UFC legend Michael Bisping pointed out that Dricus du Plessis brings real danger with his size, power, and grappling skills. At the same time, he felt that competing at 185 pounds could actually work in Khamzat Chimaev's favor. According to Bisping, carrying more natural weight might allow Chimaev to recover faster and train more efficiently, which could lead to better endurance. He also wondered why more fighters don't consider moving up a division when it could clearly benefit their performance.
Dricus du Plessis is gigantic for a middleweight as well. He's a very, very strong guy. He's got great jiu-jitsu. He's got excellent conditioning. Now, the conditioning is going to be key for Khamzat because moving up to 185, the conditioning will be improved. The strength will be improved. He can take on more nutrients. He can recover better between training sessions. I don't know why everyone doesn't move up a weight class. I said this on a video yesterday, and I'm saying it again right now. Everyone just move up a weight class, okay? The sport will be better.
Similarly, Chael Sonnen gave his thoughts on the matchup, saying he sees why Khamzat Chimaev is the favorite and would likely pick him to win. However, he admitted there's still a lot of uncertainty about how things might unfold. He pointed to the opening round as the most important factor. If Chimaev takes charge early, he could run away with it. But if du Plessis manages the early pressure and holds his ground, the tide could turn in his favor as the fight goes on.
Is it a surprise that Chimaev is a favorite? No, I would expect him to be. But I also feel as though if I were predicting this today, I would lean Chimaev. As long as you didn't ask me a follow-up question. Like if I told you, hey, I think Chimaev's going to beat Dricus. Okay, great. If we all get up and walk out of the room, we're fine. The problem is if you're going to ask me how. How is he going to beat him? Because I am not fully confident that Chimaev can take him down at will. I'm not fully confident he can keep him there. We're going to know in the very first round. If Dricus gets taken down in the first round, things are going to unravel very quickly. But if he can defend a takedown for the entire first 5 minutes, it's only going to get easier to stay on your feet after that. It's an exciting match. I would expect Chimaev to be the favorite. And he is.
Chael Sonnen raised doubts about whether Dricus du Plessis would be able to stop or even counter Khamzat Chimaev's grappling game. He acknowledged that Chimaev typically takes control right away, but felt this particular matchup seemed much more balanced than usual. That sense of uncertainty, according to Sonnen, is what makes the fight far more compelling than people might expect at first glance.
Is he good enough to defend the takedowns of Chimaev? Let's go further with it. Is he good enough to take Chimaev down? I've never seen Chimaev lose a stand-up fight. I want you to know how good Dricus is at a stand-up fight. Do you believe that Chimaev can tackle this man? Chimaev has gotten on top of everybody with no exception inside of 5 minutes. And you guys remember the Robert Whittaker fight? He came right across the ring, got him right down right away. Chimaev versus Dricus feels different. What a match. Dricus du Plessis, world champion. It's not quite as obvious that he couldn't go with Alex Pierre. It's not quite as obvious as it felt. It's not quite as obvious that he can't go with Chimaev. Things feel very different right now.
Ali Abdelaziz also weighed in on the matchup, stating that when Khamzat Chimaev is healthy and fully focused, it's tough to pick against him. He explained that any past cardio issues came after Khamzat's battle with COVID, which took a serious toll. But now that Khamzat is back training in Russia and fully locked into camp, Ali expects to see a sharper version of him. At the same time, he gave respect to Dricus du Plessis, calling him a gritty, never-quit fighter who often pulls off wins in unexpected ways.
Du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. How do you feel about this fight, and where do you see this fight?
Remember, Khamzat never have a conditioning problem before this. After COVID, it really messed him up, and I was there. He was bleeding, like throwing up like bloods. It was, and he was in Vegas, right? But as far as I know now, he's in Russia. He's in camp. He's focused. It's hard to bet against focused Khamzat, healthy Khamzat, but also this Du Plessis guy. Like the way he wins, I was like, how did this guy win? You know, like he's just so tough, so durable. He's a warrior, man. He really is a warrior.
Meanwhile, Paulo Costa gave his take on UFC 319, admitting the fight was hard to predict, but leaned a bit toward Dricus du Plessis. He felt du Plessis had the composure to weather Khamzat Chimaev's early pressure and stay in the fight. Costa also raised doubts about whether Khamzat could keep up the same intensity if the bout reached the later rounds, hinting that cardio could end up making all the difference.
It's hard to predict something, but I think Dricus is more solid. He can resist the very first rush from Chimaev, gourmet chain, and then we never know after the third round how Chimaev can, you know, if he can sustain his energy after the third round. So I think this is my question.
On the other hand, MMA Guru admitted he wasn't fully sure how the matchup would go, saying he used to lean toward Dricus du Plessis and still slightly favors him, mostly because he thinks du Plessis might be too physically strong to control easily. Still, he recognized that Khamzat Chimaev operates on a different level, especially in the opening round when he's at his most dangerous. While rooting for du Plessis, Guru acknowledged that if Chimaev wins, it will likely be within the first few minutes of the fight.
DDP, I don't know anymore, man. These guys are, I used to think, you know what, DDP's got him. And I still think that, dude, he might just be too strong to be muscled around like this.
Yeah.
But Chimaev is truly on a different level.
I think DDP beats him.
I think he could, and I am leaning that way.
Yeah.
But now I'm real.
Yeah.
You know, I also want DDP to win, but I'm leaning towards DDP.
Yeah.
Because I think the idea of Chimaev is a round one guy.
Yeah.
You know? If he takes out DDP in round one.
MMA Guru offered a different strategy for Dricus du Plessis, saying he shouldn't just be on the defensive against Khamzat Chimaev. Instead of waiting, he felt du Plessis should come out aggressively and even go for an early takedown to catch Chimaev off guard. According to Guru, Chimaev is used to taking control right away, so flipping the script with early pressure could throw him off. If du Plessis can rattle Chimaev's confidence early, it might dull that intense finishing mindset Chimaev is known for.
So this is why I don't think DDP should go out there like, oh, got stuff to take down. Get on his hips before you.
Yep.
You know, and if he stuffs it, so be it. It'll be the least thing he expects. And for a second, Chimaev, who's a killer, he's a murderer.
Yep.
He goes out there, I'm gonna drag this guy in the first round, destroy him. For a second, he goes,
yeah.
If you can snap that on Chimaev for a second, Whitaker, he never had a moment in that fight where he thought, what's going on?
It was up. He got me back.
He was complete composure. Same with Usman. Burns had him re-second guess himself.
Yep.
But all the good first rounds he's had, there's never been a snap in his mental game. That always happens in the later rounds. But if DDP shoots on him, there's a moment in Chimaev's head where he goes, what is he doing?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he's not this killer in a fight.
MMA Guru stressed that even if Khamzat Chimaev stops the takedown attempts, Dricus du Plessis can still shift the momentum by forcing a different pace, using scrambles, guard recovery, or landing shots from the bottom. He cautioned that the real danger would be getting stuck under Chimaev in side control, where he's most effective, especially now that knees to the head on the ground are legal. Guru explained that staying active and making smart choices on the ground will be crucial if du Plessis wants to avoid getting overwhelmed.
He's asking a question. He's on my hips.
Yeah.
And if he sprawls it, if he gets the whizzer and throws DDP over, and why did DDP do that? Now DDP can go, well, I'm going for a leg.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a leg. See how he deals with this.
Yep.
I'm going to get guard back.
Yep.
I'm going to see if I can elbow him off bottom position. It's much easier to survive in guard than it is for someone to have
side control
with their body lock, and they can punch you, especially now with knees and you can't play the hand game. Don't get caught up.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up in those positions.
Moreover, Julian Erosa recognized the buzz surrounding Khamzat Chimaev and called Dricus du Plessis awkward yet effective. He pointed out that unpredictable styles can still be very dangerous. While Erosa leans toward Chimaev and sees him as championship material, he still considers du Plessis a serious threat in the matchup.
Wow, I mean, Chimaev has so much hype around him, and du Plessis is like such an awkward fighter, but he somehow gets it done. The styles make the matchups, and people's like, you can't discount somebody because they have a funky style if they make it work for themselves. So I gotta go with Chimaev though. I think he just one of those guys that's above, levels above the competition. But you can't count out du Plessis. But I think Chimaev's gonna be the champ.
Chris Gutierrez admitted the matchup was tough to predict, but gave a slight edge to Dricus du Plessis. He pointed out that du Plessis often lands effective shots by reacting in the moment, using sharp instincts and timing. Although his movements can look awkward, Gutierrez believes that same unpredictability makes him a real threat and could be the difference maker in the fight.
Who's gonna win this one? I don't know, man. That one's a hard one because DDP just, it's like he just makes, combinations up midway through the fight, and somehow they work for him. I don't know. I think that clumsiness that he brings to the fight, I think that helps him. You know what? I'm going to pick DDP on that one.
Azamat Bakoev said people often overlook Dricus du Plessis, but he sees the fight as a real challenge for Khamzat Chimaev. He acknowledged Chimaev's strength and ability to dominate opponents, though he still expects a competitive fight. In his view, Chimaev holds a slight edge, around 55%, but it's far from a guaranteed win.
Everybody underestimates the champion Dricus du Plessis, but I think it's going to be not easy fight for Khamzat Chimaev. But Khamzat Chimaev also strong. He destroyed a lot of fighters, and but I still think it's going to be close fight, and who knows who's gonna win? Maybe 55%. So it's Chimaev. Like that, you know.
Similarly, Din Thomas shared his thoughts on the matchup, saying he sees Dricus du Plessis as having a real shot at beating Khamzat Chimaev. He recognized how dangerous Chimaev is in the early stages, but believes that if du Plessis can endure the initial storm, he has the tools to shift the momentum. Din pointed to Dricus's grit and calm under pressure as key factors that could help him wear Chimaev down and pull off a major upset as the fight goes on.
You think Dricus beats Khamzat?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
I do. I really do. I think Khamzat is a sprinter. I think if you were to make fights 1 5-minute round, Khamzat beats anybody in the world, any weight class. But you can't fight championship level fights for 5 rounds at the pace where he's at his best. If he fights like that at his best, I think Dricus is so durable and he's so smart that he'll be able to withstand that. Now they're swimming in deep water, and Khamzat can't swim that deep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Din Thomas believes Dricus du Plessis has the best chance of winning if the fight drags into the later rounds. He thinks Khamzat Chimaev could begin to slow down once he realizes du Plessis isn't backing off and keeps pressing the action. According to Din, Dricus' solid conditioning and sharp fight IQ might allow him to chip away at Khamzat's pace, break his rhythm, and turn the tide as the rounds progress.
So what do you think? It just goes into the championship rounds and he figures them out?
Yeah. I think that by the 3rd round, Khamzat's like, all right, I don't really know. I can't, this guy's not going away. Wow. And also too, is if Khamzat does, let's say he does pace himself a little better, Dricus will just pour it on him.
Right.
So I think that pacing is a big factor. We always talk about this cardio thing, but cardio is really just being able to manage whatever pace you have based on the skill set you have. That's really what it comes down to. Like if you have a very limited skill set and you're forced to be in situations that you're not comfortable in, you're going to have bad cardio. But when you have a very well-rounded skill set and you can pace yourself better, you're gonna have good cardio. So, I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
So, that's all we have from today's video, and hopefully you have enjoyed it. Share your predictions for this matchup in the comments section, and subscribe to our channel to get more updates about UFC.